I think we're going to start. It sounds like that people have basically logged in by now. So I'm going to start by going into Qualtrics, and that would be ndstate.qualtrics.com. And you would see a cast system, so you know that you're on the right page. My screen might be looking different from yours since I have about 7,000 surveys on my account. Your system probably would look more like that. But to keep my stuff organized, I made everything smaller and have folders. So another way to make sure that you have NDSU account, if you scroll down, you will see NDSU on the bottom of your account. Just want to make sure that you have NDSU account instead of the free account, because if you have the free account, you're not going to be able to do as many surveys as you want, or you can only be limited about 200 if they are what they used to be like. Now let's get back into to how to create surveys. You can do create a new project, and you will see this screen. And to create your own, you can go to create your own. Hit survey. You have two options. You can create a brand new one, or you can do from a library or from a file. From a file, it's like someone gave you a download a template and said, here, you can import it. From the library, you can click on that, and at North Dakota State University, you click on that, you will see that under forms, there's quite a few forms that I looked at that I thought that other people would use. Most of the people I thought would use would be the contact form. So if you click on that, and name it, this part of it is really slow, so I could almost have the whole thing typed out before it even shows. And hit get started. Here's the form that I just took from our template. And there is reasons why we did the first, last, and email and phone number and your question. That's all one question. If I would have done it by going into the create a text entry, one that would say first name here, and then create another one with the same thing. This time would be last name. There's two reasons why I do this kind of form versus this. Is how it's making it, this would make the form look bigger than that. And also, if you're going to go to your reports, you go into your reports. When I use the form question type, you see where everything is lying across versus the other way I did it. The first name would be all down and the last name would be all down. So keeping that form looking will keep everything nice and neat all the way across for you, like an Excel sheet. That was one way of creating a survey. Let's go back to your listing. And to go back, I just click the X, the logo as your home back page. And let's create a new project. Once again, you click on the survey part of it and name it here. Hit get started. It's always going to come up with a multiple choice as your first question type. And you just click on the arrow to see all the different question types. And even like the multiple choice has other choices underneath it. When you put your mouse over to the side, you see a drop-down box. Metrics tables is not accessible. So instead of using metrics tables, you can use the side-by-side question type instead. And I can show you how to do that to make it look like a metrics question. And another ones that are not available is consent sum and hotspot and pick, group, and rank are a couple that are not available. It's the ones that you have to drag and drop. You cannot use the keyboard to move things, so those would be inaccessible. And they're not going to be grayed out, so you can will not know that they're not available until you try to publish it. Or if you look to the like I'll try to publish this. Oh shoot, it's gonna publish on my account. But if it was on your account, it will not publish. But if you wanted any ranking, you have to go and make sure that you look at, that's another unaccessible question type. The rank and order is here. So you have to be careful which rank and order you pick. The only ones that work on the rank and order is this radio button. And when you use that, your top choice would be number 1 and work it through how many choices you have. And it will pick out how many radio buttons you need for that one. When you work through a multiple choice question, there you will see off to the side where it says multiple, edit multiple. You can copy and paste from your Word document. Like I'm gonna open a Word document that I already put information in. This would be fast for when you're creating surveys, so you don't have to type it all again. In a minute I hit it went down to, on there for me. Let's see if we, and you have to make sure that each choice is in its own line for this. And if you publish it, that's going to go away. So if you need to add more information after you publish it or reuse your surveys, you would hit enter and you can start typing for that next one. And a lot of, since I started with the strongly agree, we should change the value for that. You go to the gear looking, and then you want to do recode values and click code values. And strongly agree should be like a, well, since I have 6, it should be 6 here. Let's make that a 5. Let's make this a 4, 3, 2, 1. I want to put this one at a 0 since it's nothing. And I don't want it to show up for any stats, but yet if you're going to force the answer, you should have like a NA or something like that. So to not have that in your reports or your Excel sheets, you would want to do exclude from analysis, and you can tell that it's part of the, that is excluded. It would be a red check mark right there. And how I got that is right clicking on the choice. Normally that should have, the strongly agree should, when I clicked on that, it should have started with a 1. So like if I would have do it now, is see where it says 1. That's what your normal response would look like on your regular survey. Your first choice would be 1 and it works down. So if you want to make sure that you change the values to what you want. Another thing you should be thinking about when you do your forms is to go to your look and feel. To fix this theme, it's got a red exclamation point. Click on that where it says themes. If you're doing a regular survey, you would want the new NDSU one and hit save. But if you're doing a form, you would want a blank one. So you would want to hit blank and hit save here. If you want a title, you would go to look and feel and go to general and go, hit edit on header. You can also, you can do your bold. And if you want it centered, you hit more and click on the centered icon and hit save. If you use a header and reuse your surveys, make sure that you change that or your other surveys or your forms are going to have a different, will have the wrong header. Go to the survey options for your forms. I would uncheck the save and continue because that would allow the people to come back to that link for a week. And if they don't come back, you're going to have a bunch of empty data. So I would take the save and continue off just for the forms. And again, you would want to do your survey title down here. And when you do a regular survey, you would want anonymous response checked in the forms tube, so you don't collect the IP addresses or the GP location of where that person is at the time. If you really look at the map, you could bring it down to the building that they were sitting at. When you're doing a regular survey and you have the save and continue turned on, this down here is going to tell you how long that save and continue is. And that save continue, you have to go past the first page for it to save, and then they can come back. And it will not work if they are at a using the labs and you are trying, if someone else comes back and tries to click on the same link, it's going to take you right to where that person left off. If you don't want to record the information, you can tell it to record, or you can tell it to delete after the first week or 1 week, or you can even tell it how many hours, or you can even go up to a year. And you can see at the start of the survey or at the last activity, I leave the defaults alone, except for when I'm doing forms. And I'm taking care of that up above at this save continue being turned off. When I'm done with that, I will hit save. When I'm working on a survey and I want it to have page breaks, I do not use page breaks. What I do instead, I will create a new block and create a survey, a question from there. And you can even name your blocks if you want to keep your sections organized. The reason why I use blocks instead of page breaks is because it's a lot easier to do skips and branches and loop and merge, all the kind of advanced stuff that you could be possibly needing. And this way is also an easy way to go back to the top and when you do the block options, you can also do next and previous buttons instead of the arrows that you see everybody using. You would type back and next and hit save. That would be more, make your surveys more accessible. And when you get to the last block of your survey, you're going to have to make sure that there is no page breaks or any display logics that are going to cause a page break because of the logic, and to make that as a submit button. One thing about copy and pasting, like I showed you, you can also do it for your question. I'm just going to hit paste. Now, if I preview it, look at how big this print is versus it didn't do it. What I wanted to show you is that it's a different font, but I wanted to show you it was a different size. Because I just copied it from Word, so it was supposed to take the size of the font in the size I've used versus what my default for Qualtrics is. A fast way to make sure that everything is the same size fonts, you will click on the question in your where you see the rich editor, type text, and remove formatting. If you click on remove formatting, you will remove all the formatting that it was taken from the Word, so all the HTML codes are gone. Let's say you wanted a metrics question. To do that, you would use the side-by-side question, and you would only use one column. So I will do the column options and remove the column. And you will not need the click to write column 1 here unless you have a specific instructions that you don't, you can write there. I'm going to get rid of it by highlighting it and pressing the space bar. And here for answer 1, you can do the strongly agree. Agree. Between. And to get another option to add more, you just hit the enter key. You put your statements here that you would want for the strongly agree and agree. And once again, you do the gear for the code values and click code values, and then you would code them the way it should be. And that will look exactly like your metrics question type. While we're looking at that that metrics question that we set up, this is normally how you would see the metrics question, where you have the strongly agree and disagree in between, and agree and strongly agree. To make it look nicer for you, to make the report easier for you to read, click on the chart and go over where it says your display options. Click on show bar labels, and then do stack bars, and then scroll down until you see transpose. This way you have your statements the way you normally would see them, and the colors would be stacked all the way across for your strongly agree and disagree, all in one line. So now you will be able to understand what it looks like. and it would tie into your means in your basic blocks that you normally see. I'm going to go here and add another question type, and I click the plus sign to bring a new question to me. And this time I'm going to do a text entry question type. And here you will see all the different kinds that you can use right there. I'm going to say I want an essay question type. But your screen here is going to look like it's just one line, but you can tell it's an essay because you have the three dots here, the lines right there. What I also wanted to show you that the question numbers are out of order. And that can make a difference when you're doing a big survey. Your data might not be in the right order, so you would want to make sure that you have that in order, especially when you're having people look at the survey and you're trying to match your data, and you're looking at your survey. You go to Tools, Auto Number, Question Type, Questions, and then you do the sequential numbering. Now I scroll back down, you see that they're all in order for you. When you have a survey that you want to have an email or a form that you want to email the minute that they hit submit, it could go to you or it could go to your person that filled out the survey. You would go to actions. You go add actions. And event would be a survey response. That's the only thing we can do right now. The conditions, if you don't put any of the condition in there, you will get it every time someone hits submit. Or you can pick a question. You can do a new condition, and you can pick the question, or if you want it based on embedded data that you put in, or a question type. The question, let's say it was based on question 1, and the choice you get to pick, oh, it's a rank one, we don't want that one. I want a multiple choice, so it's going to be easier for us to look at. Here's the multiple choice where you can say that is all strongly agree, is selected, and you will get the email for all the strongly agrees. And to do that, you need to add the task, and the only thing we're allowed to do now is to do an email. And here you can put the email address that you want that email to go to. I'm going to hit save. Oh, let's go back to it. It's going to go to me, and the subject would be, can be anything. If you can put your form or your survey so you know what it's about, and you can type out your message, and you can hit save because you can use it again for it doesn't matter if it's for it could be for a different survey or a form. It does not matter if it's the different link at all. To see what the people have responded to the survey or form, you would want to make sure that you check and include response report. That will get, without even typing the questions at all, you see the question and you see the responses sent to right to your email. You can even, that will include if you have a upload question type in your form or your survey, you would also be able to click on the link to get that information from your email. You don't have to worry about any of the rest of the stuff and hit save. And to look at your data that you got from your forms, you would go to the data analysis. And it will tell you it's re-indexing. It probably won't. Okay, now it says that it's already there. Because I don't have any data, it didn't give me anything to look at the samples. So let's go to the survey so you can see the data. Let's do a preview. The preview will even give you the results right into your survey information. So you want to make sure that when you go through your before you send it out, you clear out your data. Let's close the preview. Now let's go back to the data analysis. Here you see that where I clicked on and did a preview. They'll only show a few columns. So if you want to see more columns on your screen, you would go to Tools, choose a column, and you can click the ones that you haven't seen that you might want. Like you might want to see question 5, and you want to see all the choices, and then you will see the columns that you added. Now, if you just export this into Excel, you would go to export data. I use the legacy exporter. It's a lot cleaner of your exports. When I do that, it normally your default will be numbers. Like I showed you where I was numbering the choices. If you want to make sure that you don't have just the numbers, you want to use the your choice text. You click on the more options and to use choice text and hit download. And you see the your data in Excel, and it has the choices in words here instead of numbers. But if you're going to do any stats, you would want to use the numbers. You can also use Qualtrics to send out your survey or your forms. If you don't have them on your website, you can send them by email, and you would hit compose, and click on 2 in your new contact list. You would name this so you can use it again, and then you can type your or copy your email addresses. Doing it this way, you can only do 200 emails for this screen. And once you got done, you hit create. It's going to create a blank one since I didn't put any email addresses in there. If you put the first name and the last name in your list, you can also personalize your message, even though when you get your results back, it wouldn't even be tied to those names since we marked anonymous. Okay, let's go back to where we could send it again. So we can do by email and do your list. Like here's a bunch of ones that I could reuse. So you can reuse your contact list for your surveys. Here you can tell it when you want it to go out. Custom, you can have it custom, and you can have them scheduled way out. Like I have a bunch of them that are scheduled to go out in May, July, or all the way out to next year. And you can hit, you have to make sure that you have a subject line and the message. Here, these links look funny, but you do not want to touch those because what they are, they're piping out your out the link instead of typing it out. And if you use, instead of typing out your email addresses and you use a listserv email addresses, you want to make sure you go do the show advanced options and change it the link type. You want to change that to multiple or anonymous, because if you forget to change this type, only one person is going to be able to take the survey. Once the survey is taken once already, then the rest of your the server will not be able to take it. So yeah, normally you're going to have to make sure that you tell what kind of link type you have. Now, if you want to just send it a survey out using your regular survey, into your email, you go to the anonymous link, and here it is for you to copy. Another way you can send it out is by QR code, and you can download this and copy it where people can just click it on their phone and it brings it up. And if you use multiple different ways, your summary will tell you how many previews you had when you yourself looked at it, and how many anonymous links you have, how many emails you have per day, and you do the QR code. It would tell you that it would be an anonymous link. If you use social media, it will tell you that you had social media. And here's just a few social medias where you can post your link also. But this summary is really, really good to look at, so you can tell where, how many people have responded. And if you don't think that they have responded enough and you used your email contact list, you can send out a reminder. And you cannot use a reminder if you use listserv unless you send it out to everybody. If you use a contact list, it only goes to the people that you have sent out with. The ones that have not responded are the ones that get the email for the reminders. Thank you, everybody.